And we got Don back on feature against a new opponent, Brandon, rocking a mono-red Obosh deck.
And I couldn't tell if Don has any companions in his deck. I haven't seen it out.
I don't believe he had it out last round.
It feels like it could be a Kahira situation, but I mean, it's very likely he plays some number of Eternal Witnesses.
I believe when we had his deck up in between game 1 and 2, he did have, I think, a singleton Eternal Witness.
But it looks like he's going down to 6. On the ropes, defending the 4-0 here.
Brandon, also another local that we see a lot of, likes to play a lot of red cards, a lot of different red cards, though. And he hasn't been here in a while, so I'm excited to see what he's got for us in this last round of Wednesday Night Modern.
I think he's brought an odd deck today. Very odd.
I have nothing funny to say to that.
That's okay, but it was funny, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's all. That's
Yeah.
all I care about. Don's keeping 6. Looks like Brandon's keeping his 7. One drop go, or land go. Mulliganing with a Renin 6 in your deck just always feels good. What's up? Spikefield Hazard on the Ragavan. I wonder if Don kept the hand on the back of this Ragavan.
His facial expression doesn't look pleased to me.
I mean, I saw a couple of endings. I don't think I spotted a second land in his hand. I was going to say mulliganing with Renin 6 in your deck feels like cheating sometimes because it's not a mulligan.
I like the Brothers War Full Arts Brandon's got there.
Yeah. Yeah, he always comes with he has a good taste in
Yeah,
his card selection.
absolutely.
He has high standards. But here's the land for Don. Opting to stay with only 2 colors in his first 2 lands. Signals to me that there's a Renin 6 coming.
Yeah, looks like a pretty clear play here.
Might be open to just keep that life total high.
Take care of life total since I can't pull a card.
All right, let's see. Another, no,
Yep. No, you had it.
a Spikefield Hazard and a Bolt.
Yep. Rand's exiled. It's a 3-for-1.
Yeah, that seems he's got a not as much to work with as he just did. But it seems like he really valued that Ren highly. A Blast Zone will come down. Not sure how much that'll do against Magus.
That's going to do a lot. I think Don has a few bolts in his deck. He's got a couple of Furies, we know that for sure. And there's a Solitude.
Will come down and immediately take care of the Magus of the Moon there. Don cannot have any of that happening.
Oh, he's got another land. So he picked up a Misty, I'm pretty sure, with the Ren, and here's a Windswept Heath. He might be opting to play this even though it gives away information, just to be able to fetch a Plains in the face of another Moon effect.
Don will fetch here.
Wonder if it's going to be a Plains. Den of the Bugbear from Brandon. That card has cost me a lot of games. It's so innocuous, it just sits there.
It sneaks up on you, yeah.
You grind your opponent out of cards, and they're like, okay, I'm going to activate this thing. You're like, oh, shoot. My Leyline Binding doesn't hit it. My Prismatic Ending doesn't hit it. In Don's case, Fury doesn't hit it. So, it's quite threatening.
Yeah, and there's the Misty. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly Brandon's trying to do here.
Kill Don.
He hasn't played a single permanent yet besides his lands.
Well, he played the Magus, but I think
Oh,
he'll
you're
get
right.
there.
I'm sorry.
Nice
Yeah.
and slow. I don't think he's in any right. He's not an aggro deck. He's not a Swift Spear deck type of thing, where you're trying to just burn your opponent out.
Ooh.
Here comes a Fable. You wanted a permanent.
It's a pretty good permanent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's got the Goblet Shaman token, too.
I'm glad I'm behind the mic today. I'm not facing whatever Brandon's brewing.
All right.
Okay.
Very pretty selection of unlands there
Yes, it is.
from Don.
And quite insulated against moon effects, but
Absolutely.
possibly, bottlenecking himself in terms of spells he can cast. We'll see.
Well, he's got all 4 colors of Omnath there.
Mm-hmm. Does he have the elemental itself? No.
No, not if he's playing the land.
Ending. And if he has a binding in hand, he just can't cast it right now because he doesn't have a second white source. So Brandon's going to be able to rummage a couple of times with this Fable if he so chooses.
Mm-hmm. Is that Beseju I spotted?
I
Don's
didn't
hand?
catch it. If it is, he may have just...
Yeah, it can't be, right? 'Cause
It can be.
He would have targeted the Fable, right?
Maybe he's holding it for another Blood Moon. He's only got 2 cards in hand, it looks like.
Well, it wouldn't work if it was a Magus of the Moon.
No, it would not. It feels like Brandon's deck's making him hedge a lot of different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe spreading him too thin.
Ren 6 comes down onto the board.
In the face of a Blast Zone on 2.
Don passes it back.
Presumably Brandon pops this Blast Zone.
Yeah.
All right. And then if he draws an untapped land, this Den's probably might start crashing in. Maybe he's afraid of like a Solitude coming up. Maybe he won't activate the Den. Beseju can also just hit the Den if Don's more afraid of it than the Fable. But again, I mean, there's only 2 threats on Brandon's side, and you're going to have to answer both of them.
Right. We can see chat, yeah. Hey, guys. Thanks for hanging out. If you got any questions, by the way, please ask. We're here to answer anything you can think of.
Bone Crusher
Hopefully
hits the
magic
field.
related.
Yeah. Not sure how much I can answer about other stuff, but yeah, Bone Crusher hits the field. Don says, you know what? I want to cast my spells. I'm just going to start fetching for a Triome here. I've got my basics.
Yeah, I think you're insulated enough against any Blood Moon effects here.
Okay.
The Seiju comes down.
That's just bringing Brandon back closer to activating that 10. Don's going to untap.
I feel like he's got to draw a good card soon.
There's a lot of them in the deck. I'm not sure where his deck list stands on Planeswalkers. I know there's fairies and Wrens, but a lot of these decks will place some number or some mixture of Jaces and Teferi heroes.
A non-dashed Ragavan.
Yeah. Very
Not great against a 4-3.
Oh, and it looks like the last card's a Misty in his hand. No, not great against a 4-3, no.
Brandon will kill it quickly there.
Okay.
A second den.
Second Den, and Den's the 4th mana for the first Den, so Don's down to 10. Next turn, presumably, he's taking 3, 4, 8.
Obosh to hand there.
Looks like he was thinking between holding up an instant or putting that in hand.
Draws a bolt for turn.
Ugh. Not good against Bone Crusher. Okay against a Den. It does time walk you, but you take 4, if that's the sequence of events.
I think the bolt gives him a little bit more time.
Let's go. Let's see the Obosh. Let's see it. I like this. If Don's able to answer this Bone Crusher, the Obosh survives, trigger. And then... I mean, Brandon's threatening to just close out the game.
Mm-hmm. Don's just got to draw something,
Do you have a Solitude?
I think. Got an Omnath. All right, another draw.
Omnath. Into Teferi.
Into a fetch lands. Pretty good.
Oh, all right. We're fetching.
Here we go.
Feels like something's going to get cast. Float 4 mana. Solitude.
And a Solitude. Very nice.
That was a good sequence.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good 2 cards to have on top of your deck.
Yeah.
Omnath into
Yeah.
Solitude. The other way around wouldn't have been nearly as good. Yeah. Oarsman, as soon as he activates these dens, we're calling the judge.
All right. Brandon dispatches the Omnath, but he's still got a Solitude to deal with here. And there it goes.
Okay. And it looks like Don has no cards in hand, but again, he could have another turn just like he did.
Mm.
He says go ahead.
Trying not to give up too much information there.
Oof.
Seasoned Pyromancer will help Brandon a lot.
This card
Refill
a
his hand.
Blood Moon. What else did he discard? Was that a relic or EE? Ooh.
There's a Fable. I like the tokens too. What are those?
I can't tell what the reference is, but
It gives me almost like Aladdin vibes.
I know. I was
Like
thinking
Disney
that.
vibes.
I was thinking it's like
Yeah.
a really red genie.
Like Genie if he was red, right?
Ending's okay here. It's really nice to exile the Pyromancer.
Right, because
But-
you can't.
Paying 3 to exile something that just drew 2 cards and made 2 creatures is not the greatest feeling. Oh,
Brandon
oh.
still has this Bone Crusher Giant out on an adventure, but
Mhm.
instead he will animate a den and crash in.
Trying to go wide. I'll make another, put another body on the field. I don't know if it matters, but 2 of those are elementals and one of those is a goblin. And
Mm-hmm.
Don says, nope, doesn't matter.
Yep.
Let's go to the next game.
Yeah. All right. Well, while these gentlemen are sideboarding here, let's take a look at Don's deck again. So he does have those Teferis like you were talking about before, in addition to the Wrens for Planeswalkers. Let's see.
And one Eternal Witness
Yeah.
for the sake of... Oh, and the Ragavans. That negates the Kahira as well. No sign of Jace or Teferi Hero Dominaria. Very creature-centric here, but...
So what are you bringing in against Brandon's deck here? The endurances help with, like, I don't know, the Season Pyromancer. He only has half of the numbers to worry about, so EE is twice as good. Is that how that works?
Yeah. The math checks out. Half as much, twice as good.
Beseiju, you can target the Dens, the Fables,
I bring in the two
Blood Moons
Beseijus.
that I assume he has,
Well, we saw him discard one to the Pyromancer.
right?
So we know he at least has one. I bring in the Beseijus for sure. And then I don't like the Chalices. I can bring in some EEs if you want to handle, preemptively put it on 3. It looked like there were a lot of 3s that were the threats in Brandon's deck. You have the Fable, you have the Bone Crusher, you have the Moon effects. So that's a consideration. Veil of Summer doesn't really fit here. I think Obosh is probably the only black card in Brandon's deck.
Right.
And potentially these endurances.
And then what do you take out here?
I might trim some Teferis. It didn't look like Brandon plays at instant speed too much. I could see trimming an Ephemerate or two. It looked like he was heavy on creature removal. So if you don't expect your creatures to stick around, that will just leave you with no targets, kind of like it did there at the end of that game for Don. That was the last card in his hand. I think it was a top deck. I like the creatures that play to the board, the Furies, the Solitudes.
Right.
Could see trimming on Ragavans against a Spikefield Hazard deck that just has inherent lands that can just kill your Mythic Rare from Modern Horizons 2.
He is on the play though, right? So
Don will be.
A turn 1 Ragavan could accelerate him to a advantageous board state.
It could. Or it could die.
I can't argue with that, yeah.
So, checkmate.
That's very fair. Yeah.
That's my assessment anyway.
All right, before we catch the start of game 2 here, we're going to head on over to a quick ad. Be right back. Oh. Never mind. Hey guys, do you like to play Magic?
Yes.
So do I. Yeet. George,
Yes.
did you know on Friday there's a new set for Magic coming out?
Love it.
Do you know
what's the new set?
It's called Phyrexia All Be One.
I thought New Phyrexia came out 15 years ago.
I can't fact check you on the exact date of that, but there's a new set dropping on Friday, and Nerd Rage Gaming is hosting some pre-release events.
I'll
if
be
you're
there.
interested, we have one Friday night at 6:30, a sealed draft, and then again Saturday at 2. We hope to see you there.
I'll be there.
Nailed it.
A sealed draft.
It's completely sealed. You don't get to open anything. Looks like Don's keeping his 7. Brandon's thinking long and hard about his. Oh no, Don's shuffling. I thought he was just shuffling 7 cards in his hand. Looks like he's shuffling the entire deck. I love the way Brandon cuts too. He does this every time.
Did you do the same exact cut?
Similar, basically, yeah. He'll like cut your deck, and then you go to take it, and he's like, no, 3 more. Gets me every time. I can't tell actually if Brandon's on 6 or 7.
It looks like 7 to me.
And then Don's keeping this one. So let's get into some action.
Here we go.
Where's the Ragavan?
Oh.
Ooh. Didn't see it. Play a spike field.
Yeah.
Yep, he had it. He had
That's
it.
crazy.
Although maybe Don has a dash dragon man here. Coast is clear.
Played around it, yeah.
I just don't think Dragon Man's very good. I mean, your opponent's got Spyros, your opponent's got Spike Fields and Bolts, and turn 1 Forest. Ugh. Huh.
Seems to me like a turn 2 run here. Then. With the fetch land in the graveyard, seems pretty good. Blast Zone, I think I see a Magus in Brandon's hand there. Oh,
Okay.
no Ren.
No Ren. He may just be holding up that Forest. When I play Blue-White Ren and Narset, I like to preemptively fetch my Forest just because I would play 2 to 3 Besejus. And if you get Blood Moon, you can just always draw your Beseju, and you've already got your Forest. So keeps you nice and insulated. But here's a Teferi. Also keeps you insulated against moon effects. Also keeps you insulated here against a turn 3 Fable. You're able to bounce the token and potentially prismatic ending the enchantment or do the moves that you have to do.
Yes, this is a stronger start for Don, for sure. Brandon asking about cards in hand, looks like. Brandon's a very cautious player, I'd say. Well, not cautious, excuse me. Methodical, maybe, is a better...
Meticulous, methodical.
Yeah.
Just some words. Yeah, there's a lot of words out there. It's hard to choose one sometimes. But here's a Magus. Insulated against Beseju, but this Teferi is just going to bounce it.
Right, I don't really know.
Or is it? Aggressive play here from Brandon.
Yeah, 4 damage isn't quite enough, but he can't bounce anything with Teferi anymore.
Exactly. Oh, a smart play from Don to uptake that Teferi and play around the Fury.
I don't know if... Shocks in a Sacred Foundry.
He doesn't shock it in thanks to that Magus.
Oh!
He just gets
right.
a free untapped plateau there. Oh, and no counter on the Blast Zone for Brandon because of the Blood Moon. That might factor in at some point.
Dashes out a bad card, according to George.
Both of these at Teferi, it seems.
Kills the Teferi there. Bolts the Magus.
Let's the Ragavan stick around.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, I could see a Solitude in its future. Ooh. Or a big old 4/4.
Give me that fetch land.
Ooh.
There it is.
God, this is brutal. Brutal as it ever was. Omnath plus fetch land. Where's your Fury now?
Is he gonna... No, Ephemer's a sorcery, right?
No, it's not.
Is it... Oh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's not going to do it. Okay. I'm just going to gain some life.
Oh, okay.
Dashed Rag.
See what he can do with this. Brandon needs to start doing more with his turns here.
It connects. Flips a Flooded Strand. Brandon needs to do more, but so does Don.
I mean, his last turn was good. He played an Omnath and a fetch land.
Yeah, but Omnath's dead, and now Brandon's got the Obosh in hand. Don's getting low on cards.
He's
This-
got 5 in hand.
This is why I don't play decks without planeswalkers.
He just had a planeswalker.
Always need my Jace. Chalice is big here. That Ragavan's not going to be able to be dashed anymore.
Mm-hmm.
This five mana creature, though,
Yeah.
that resolves.
Spend his whole turn on that.
Attack you for 3+3. Wow. The Blast Zone having no counters worked to Brandon's advantage. I did not expect that. When it got 0 counters due to the Blood Moon, I thought that was going to be a disadvantage. He's not going to be able to kill a Wrenn in time or a Teferi in time.
And just like that.
Just like
Oh,
that.
Just like that.
And just like that.
Big Green Boy's back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, heads up play from Brandon, but Don's still fighting a good fight here with an Omnath, gain 2 life off my Shockland, and play my Teferi.
A lot's happened for these life totals to be at 2020.
That's true. There's been a lot of attacking into Teferis and furying Teferis.
Sure, yeah.
Flame slashing Omnaths.
I think that's like the 3rd or 4th Omnath we've seen flame slashed.
Yeah.
It seems like that's happened several
It's
times.
Lined
this
up
run.
really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gets in and kills the Teferi there.
Can't have that sticking around.
Mm-mm. Get that pesky planeswalker off the board.
Ugh. Big Fable. He's going to get a lot of treasure next turn if Don's not able to answer these creatures. Ugh. Another Teferi.
What's the target here?
Got to be the Shaman.
There
And
you
the other
go.
2 just come back down with value.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't feel great. Doesn't feel terrible.
Right.
Whew.
Another Omnath.
He is fighting the good fight. I mean, Brandon is really pressuring him, but
This is 3rd Omnath?
I think Don's pressuring Brandon now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's his 3rd Teferi, too.
His draws were, I think it's to make up for all the bad draws he had in game 1. He's just,
Sure.
he's really keeping up with Brandon here.
We're just going to make 4 mana, it seems. Bolt Ragavan. Beseiju the Fable. Wow. He just took care of everything
Yeah.
that turn.
Still got a mana floating, too.
Brandon passed the turn with a Fable, a Goblin.
2 mana?
And a
Is Omnath
Ragavan.
legendary?
Omnath is legendary.
So you still got 2 more mana?
But there's nothing left for him to interact with.
Yeah, I think
He took care of it all.
Play another Chalice on 1.
Yeah. Chalice on 1 in my Lightning Bolt deck is very bold and brave. makes me even more confident that he boarded out his own Ragavans, though. Let's see what Brandon's follow-up is.
A Blood Moon.
Don says that's fine. That doesn't attack, that doesn't block.
Not worried about that. I've already cast the spell I care about. Plus, I've got all the colors I need.
Fury.
Pitching
Pitching
the
my
Obosh.
Obosh. Wow, that is a valuable exchange for Don.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that, honestly. Oh,
And he shocks the Teferi, Crusher's on an adventure, and he passes. But getting rid of a Fury and an Obosh.
yeah, those are two cards that have a can really impact the game, and to pitch both of them in one turn.
Absolutely. But Don has no follow-up. Brandon untaps. He's going to be able to cast this Giant, put 4 power on the field.
Don's got one card in hand.
Yep. Looks that way.
Oh my goodness.
Make a token. Draw 2 cards.
This game has gone back and forth quite a number of times.
Oh, yeah. Big turn for Brandon.
Come on, Don, show us your cards.
He's looking at the grave. Maybe it was an Eternal Witness drawn. Not that he can cast it.
Is he gonna say? Oh,
Ren. Oh, get back Beseju. Take 4, 5, 6, 7 next turn. I mean,
it's what you got to do.
it's what he can do.
It's what yeah.
You're going to be able to get out from under this Blood Moon, but the board itself is becoming a threat. Ooh. I'm just sending one at the Ren. I don't think you have a removal spell.
Calls
Hit
him
you.
on it.
Flip Ragavan. Get my own Ren in 6.
Ooh. Sure, why not?
Bring back my Blast Zone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good down take and just, use it as a
Just smack him for
just
one.
3/3. Yeah, 1/1/1.
Yeah.
Deal 3 damage over the course of some turns. He's bringing it back. Play that. This time it has a counter. No, it still doesn't. The Blood Moon's there. Oh, look at that. The synergy in Brandon's deck. Untap with 3 basics and 6 mountains.
I think that was a triumph.
I think he needs a Fury, if anything. Cycle. Was that another Triumph?
I think that was the triumph you just drew.
No, did he draw one off that one?
Oh, I see. I see.
I don't know.
All right. Is it enough?
I don't think so. Bounce the moon, it just comes back down. Bounce the Ragavan, it has dash. Oh, the Ragavan was dashed, okay. Bounce the Bone Crusher, you can just get hit for 2 again. I mean, everything has value in
Yeah.
Brandon's deck. Wonder if the play was just bounce the Elemental token off the Pyromancer.
He bounced the giant,
Yeah,
but when you target it, you take 2.
of a spell. Yeah. Ren kills off the Teferi. Dash the monkey. 2, 4, 5. Take 5.
That might have been nice for Don to draw.
There were a few turns that went back and forth, and then I think Don skipped a beat,
Yeah,
and he's being buried now.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly
Brandon
but
just
surely.
had too many threats.
Sage of the Moon, unlock my mana to cast, hopefully, the spell that I draw.
Mm-hmm.
Omnath into Solitude would be another good sequence. He's done that before. Also, I noticed a lack of expressive iteration in Don's deck.
Yeah.
I think that's working to his disadvantage here in this grindy matchup.
Yeah, he's really just been drawing one card per turn unless he plays an Omnath or a Teferi. Yeah, I mean, Brandon is keeping up with him with the Ragavan triggers, the Season Pyro, draw. You got a land back from Ren and 6,
Yeah, I was just thinking, I'm like, Don could really use an iteration. I realized, I don't think he's playing it. Here we go, Brandon, another 3-drop. Backup Moon.
That's fine.
It's fine.
That's
Looks like he
fine.
almost has a bolt in his hand. He was almost going to float red mana or something. Brandon's just trying to say, how do I lose this game? How do I not throw this? What could he have? I'm going to dash my monkey and I'm going to attack in for 5 again. Oh no, Don, that's what you wanted.
You hate to see it.
2 treasures. Let's Brandon cast it.
And Don, I think, sees the writing on the wall here.
This pilfering monkey doing way too much work. Down to 7.
You still think Ragavan's a bad card?
From Don's perspective, yeah. You think he could be attacking into this 1/1 token? Or this 2/2 Spyro that can then make more tokens and just get unlimited value? Plus he brought in his chalices. I don't know. I think Don did the right stuff, played the right cards, but
Yeah.
looks like Brandon was able to.
Yeah, I don't think there were misplays from Don at any point, really.
Fury too late?
Is that you can get 2 things?
It's got to be the Magus.
Yeah.
Killing the Spyro is just. He's like,
I think
give me
it
my
fuels
solitude.
him.
Give me my solitude back. Yeah, it just fuels him some more. It gives him more creatures back. So, Don refusing to give up. Love to see it.
One damage to Fury, and
Bone Crush you. The one you put in my
There it is.
hand.
oh yeah, and then you can just cast it. Or
Monkey. Lightning Bolt off the top. Oh, he forgot his Ragavan
Another
trigger, but he had his
stomp.
own Bone Crusher, and that's the game and the match.
Brandon takes home
4-0.
a 4-0 after
Undefeated.
being gone for